Welcome back, my collecting friends. I'm your host, Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. I want to thank you for joining me on this video. It's a special one because this is one of my fully featured videos in which I get to discuss a coin that can be worth as much as $110,000. Guess what, guys? That's on the low end. I can't even believe I'm saying that. But there is a lot of potential with this Lincoln penny that we are going to explore. And I will tell you this, based off of my experience. I've owned a few examples of this coin. Of course, it's not the six-figure type. I will still toot my own horn because I've owned, some pretty, basic condition coins of this type. But guys, I'm telling you, it's time to dust off those old albums, because I'm telling you, you may have a very special coin in your collection that could be worth a lot of money. All right, and I'm going to talk about the entire range of values for this particular coin. As a matter of fact, it's only one date. All right, one date, one mint mark. It was a one shot. Okay, and it was a coin that it needed to be added to a collection. Okay, and believe it or not, when these were produced during its day, I mean, we are talking about a period of time where Great Depression was about ready to happen. Quality was kind of a concern then on a lot of the coinage, not just the Lincoln pennies, but all the other denominations that were made. That's why there were a lot of variable type of low mintage coins for 1921 and 1922. There wasn't even a nickel for that matter, along with a dime and a few others. It was a really surreal time in U.S. coinage history, and it's because of that has made this particular kind of decade, or maybe a specific year within the 20s, kind of fun to collect. All right. So before we go ahead and jump into the featured coin in this video, as always, share the video to your favorite social media site if you prefer, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. During these turbulent times we're in, the support from each and every single one of you is fantastic. So please hit the button on your way out. Hopefully you enjoy today's video. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the coin that we're kind of pumping up here. It's the 1922D Lincoln wheat cent. Yes, you heard that right. This is a one-shot coin, and when I mean one-shot, they only produced this coin at the Denver Mint. Okay, so there was never any Philadelphia minted coin. There was never any San Francisco proof type coin either. But during the day, the proof coins were also made at the Philadelphia Mint. The San Francisco had no bearing on proof coinage of these types of denominations. They did a lot of gold and big silver coins and things of that nature. But the 1922D Lincoln cent has kind of built up its reputation as being a very genuine, unique type of coin within the Lincoln cent series. Okay, the Lincoln cent series is far and wide. It's 110 years old plus, with a lot of great mystery surrounding it. But the 1922D, I will say this right now, it is not an unobtainable coin. All right, 7,160,000 total pieces were produced by the Denver Mint. But here's a fun fact: only 3 different dies were used, obverse dies that is, and that's the obverse where the Lincoln portrait is on the coin. Only 3 different obverse dies were used in the production of this coin. So that's worth mentioning, because the high dollar, many tens of thousands of dollar examples, okay, it's really going to matter which die was used on your specific coin. All right, so for the 1922D, as you can see, it looks like any other coin. It is kind of unique in that the number 2 in the date is a little bit different compared to what you normally see in some of the newer coinage. I mean, it really speaks to the, I'm not going to say crudeness, but just the overall type style of the numbers being used during this, time in history. which is neat. Okay, that kind of brings a lot of allure into it. So if you wanted a coin of this type, and this is going to be more of a need for the people that like to assemble albums. Okay, it's assembling full albums from 1909 to current date is a fun project. You could make it as low ball as you want, grade wise. You could shoot for the moon and go for all Mint State 64 reds in there. There is no wrong way to collect these, ladies and gentlemen, but the 1922D has always been kind of like that fond fellow that needed to be there in that collection. So this is a definite must add. So the coin featured before you on screen is actually a PCGS AU55. Okay, so at this particular grade level, it's always nice to pick up a coin that is already certified or graded. It just allows a lot of extra credibility to the coin as being genuine, unaltered, undoctored, things of that nature. So if you're looking for a really nice specimen, you can't go wrong with not only a certified coin, but try and aim for those grades where you still have a lot of detail showing, okay? Not as much wear as, say, finding one that's like a VG or maybe a fine, where those coins, you can still pick them up for like 10 to 20 bucks. But guess what? The AU55 featured on screen here is a coin that is available between $50 and $60. You really don't have to stretch too much further to obtain this example here. Now, I had mentioned to you that there are 3 different obverse dies used for this date, which is just mind-boggling because, generally new dies are produced quite often, especially for a mintage run of 7 million pieces. You would figure they'd probably go through more than just the 3 different obverse die types. So we have this specimen here. Now, this one looks kind of weak and, oppressive, in terms of its looks. But this one is also another 1922 Denver minted Lincoln wheat penny. Now, the one thing that probably will stick out like a sore thumb on this video is the fact that the D looks really weak. All right, and so much so that this coin is attributed as a 1922 weak D Lincoln cent. All right, so this is where things begin to get interesting in terms of the collectability of the 22 Lincoln wheat cents. All right, the weaker that Denver mint mark gets, the more valuable it is. Okay, and you'll see here in a second why that is. Now, when you get to this look, okay, the coin looks like it should grade out a lot lower than it actually is. But keep in mind, the time of the a time in history in which quality was certainly lacking. So they continuously used worn dies after worn dies, and they were just making all of these smushy, just absolutely soft strikes on these coins. And of course, the reverse on this one looks, it looks like something that you really don't want to own because of how much detail is lost in this particular coin. But that, this is not a struck through grease. It is not an abraded die. It is simply just worn dies. All right. Can you imagine, minting the first like 3.5 million of the 7 million run of this coin? Okay, obviously things are going to break down over time. Okay, so there's a lot of loss of detail, and the letters and everything like that look really marshmallowy, if I had to come up with an analogy for it. But small devices on the coin like the mint mark begin to disappear. Okay, so it's incredible just the progression of these worn dies over time as these are being struck. Now, this coin right here begins to get interesting, but it is not unobtainable. I know you're going to hear me say that throughout this broadcast. But this coin right here also grades at a PCGS AU55. It's the same exact grade as the first coin, which it had a full mint mark on there. But this weak D specimen, where you do have a little bit of remnants on there, okay, is a coin in this grade that you can obtain for about $100 to $125. So if you wanted, a really interesting example and nothing like the ordinary, which is the regular 22D, go get a weak D Lincoln cent, okay? And in its own right, these coins are valuable. On the low end, for like a VG or fine, these are $30 to $40 coins all day long. You might even be able to score a few that are even cheaper than that. Keep that in mind. So this coin right here is kind of like the bridge between the, you know what, this is what it's supposed to look like. And then here is kind of like the white whale of Lincoln cents over here, where if you found one, okay, it's easily a very expensive coin, all right? You saw a little snippet of it earlier. But this right here is the final stage in the 1922D Lincoln cent. They call this one the 1922 plain, okay? And you guys probably already know why that is, but just looking at this coin, the D is completely gone, all right? So long, Denver Mint Mark. It is gone to Valhalla. But take a look at the rest of the coin. You got a lot of mushiness here on the obverse. You know, there are certain, like the I in Liberty is looking pretty weak in the motto, God. There's a lot of things going on with this particular obverse die. But when you get to the point where you have absolutely zero remnants of a Denver Mint Mark, you have come full circle, my friend. We are talking about a 1922 plain. And this coin, ladies and gentlemen, is the king of kings of where you want to be value-wise on this coin. Now, don't get me wrong. The specimen on screen is second to none. Okay, this coin right here is a nice high-grade example. As a matter of fact, I believe it is a PCGS Mint State 65 red-brown. Yes, you heard that right, red-brown. You can even see a little bit of like fingerprints, some carbon spots. You begin to see quite a bit of oxidation on this coin. Now, this example right here is a coin that's sold for over $82,000 at this grade. Actually, $82,000. Yeah. This is a very wild coin, and this is where it begins to get life-changing. You know, I guess there's no better way of just portraying the amount of money, you know, the amount of the ooze of machismo that a 22 plain Lincoln cent offers to a collector or even a seller. This will take care of a lot of things, that's for sure, money-wise. But this is the coin we're looking at. Okay, so you want to make sure that there is absolutely zero remnants of a Denver Mint Mark. This is, you know, the reverse die on this coin is very strong. So they've reworked and used new dies for the reverse throughout the, you know, the mintage progression of this coin. So there are a couple of different die states for the reverse that you need to know in regards to the plain 1922. Okay, how does that affect value? Okay, that's a great question. All right, so here's the coin in question, 64 red brown. Did I say 65? No, it's 64 red brown. That was the coin we just looked at. This is the $82,000 coin. It's nothing, right? It's just a coin. But yeah, if you can, again, if you want to buy one, you buy one graded. All right, so that way you can buy an honest example for your collection. Number two, if you're going to sell this, it's always a good idea to go ahead and encapsulate it through a grading service, because there are counterfeits that exist. All right, so to kind of quell that, all right, people have sent these to PCGS or NGC or maybe even Annex, you know, to get the third-party authentication on it, kind of like the green light or the thumbs up on there before you decide to sell it. All right, so I had mentioned that the coin that we looked at had a really nice reverse strike. So there is a strong reverse, and there is also a weak reverse. Now, you see both of them on screen. It is like night and day, ladies and gentlemen. The coin on the right is also a 1922 plain. Yes, you could find both reverses on the full-featured 1922 plain Lincoln cent, right? As being part of the 7.1 million pieces made. All right, it's a really stout number with all things considering, but as you can see, you have two different contrasting reverse dies. The one on the right, obviously, it was on its absolute last leg in terms of its usefulness. But which one is the most valuable? Okay, and it's going to be the strong reverse 1922 plain Lincoln cent. So, an interesting fact with this coin right here. This is one of 5, okay, count it, 5 examples graded as full red. Do you believe that? There were only 5 examples of the 22 plain with a full red designation on their grading label. All right, so this particular example that you see here is a Mint State 64 red, okay? But in this particular coin, this is a Pop 1. It's the highest grade. It's the only one that exists. However, the most expensive coin to this point has been the red brown, because there have been a few more examples of that coin in higher grades. When you get to red brown or even brown, it gets really pricey. Now, to kind of circle back to grading, so the very first couple coins that we looked at were obviously super brown. They were way oxidized, circulated, they were AU condition. The top grade of a brown 1922 plain Lincoln is Mint State 65, in which only 1 is assigned to that grade. That is not the highest perceived grade, okay? PCGS has put a price guide value on a 65 plus at $110,000, and there are 0 in that grade, but that is for a brown. Now, in a red brown, the top grade is a 65 plus, in which 1 only exists at that grade level, and that one has never made it to market. However, a Mint State 65 example sold in 2001, nearly 20 years ago, for $83,375. Which now we come to the full red example that you see on screen here. All right, Mint State 64 is the highest grade. There are 5 total graded with full red. What do you think the value of this coin would be in a 65 red, even if it exists? Could we be talking $200,000? $250,000? $300,000? Oh my gosh. That's a brand new house and a car, all right? Or maybe 2 or 3 brand new houses, depending on where you're going. But that is a lot of money, and those coins have yet to surface, all right? So this is where I challenge you guys. If you have one, find one. Low-grade VG and fine 1922 plains are still a $400 to $500 coin. All right, it is a necessary coin to a lot of album collections. So make sure you check your albums, your collections of these coins, and really take a close look at the mint mark. Is it there? Is it partially there? Is it completely gone? You may have a coin that can be worth many thousands of dollars, real life-changing money. Thank you guys for watching this broadcast on the 1922D Lincoln cent featuring the 1922 plain. It was surely a lot of fun. And I'm happy to have found and owned a few of these examples over the years. As always, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for instant notifications. And of course, I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. For all you coinaholics out there, have a good one. Enjoy the hobby, and I will see you on the next video. You guys take care.